Welcome to the Innovation Exchange. Innovation requires curiosity and grit. I'm Elizabeth Thelen at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. UW-Whitewater is powered by the spirit of innovation. Every episode, we bring together the people who make that happen, our business partners, the students rolling up their sleeves, and the faculty who bridge the classroom with real-world impact. If you want to hear how organizations are solving real problems, how students are contributing in meaningful ways, or how curiosity can drive innovation across our region, you're in the right place. So here we are. We're going to have several parts to this, but part one, we are here with Dr. Choton Basu. Welcome to the Innovation Exchange.
Good to be here.
We are going to talk about, again, because we've had you before with Dr. Andy Dahl, but today we're going to talk about a little summary on what does innovation mean to you. But I have heard you say no less than 4 times in the last 2 months, and that was only me being around you, talking about adjacent possible.
Yes.
So I would like to talk about what that is, why now, and then we'll circle back and talk about who you are. But what is adjacent possible?
All right. Let me start with I guess, a clinical definition first, and then we can talk about it, talk through some examples, and see where this goes. So basically, adjacent possible is it comes from the realm of innovation. So think of yourself standing at a point in time, correct? And you're looking forward as the next possible things. Adjacent possible basically argues it's the set of next step innovations that are made possible by current advances. So what people tend to do, and the reason this concept is so important, is instead of looking linearly, just straight down and saying, this is, if I'm in the auto industry, I'm in education, and looking straight down, you need to look adjacent and see what other advances are happening that can end up changing the kind of innovations or the next step in your particular field. So a quick example would be AI right now is having massive impact in many of the different industries and verticals, including education, which we are a part of. So it's looking at that and saying, what is the next set of innovations? That's what adjacent possible is.
Is it almost like dual use of a technology?
Correct. It's actually more dual,
but broader.
Correct. That's correct. That's
okay.
Correct. So it's something that's happening.
Or dual use of ourselves. Or dual. Okay, go ahead.
That's right. It's about recognizing that. It's about recognizing these technologies and changes that are happening in other areas that can say, hey, this is applicable in mine. And that changes what the next logical thing is going to be.
Okay. And you directed me prior to this to several books, but the author is Stephen Johnson.
Correct.
And I just want to say something to you and see what you think. So if I say the jack screw, do you know what that is referring to?
Oh gosh, I've read through all his books. I can't remember that particular one.
Well, think Chicago and water.
Okay. Is this the one about the water not being able to, because he has another piece on water and that you could not drink water for a long time because it was so dangerous, right? And so people used to drink alcohol instead.
Yeah. No, this is I shouldn't have surprised you, but it's fun to do. The jack screw is the tool that was used to raise the buildings for the water. So I just think of it as oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he's got about 7 books. The one that I highly recommend is the one called How We Got to Now.
Yes.
Correct. And 6 innovations that changed the world. I don't know if you had a time to read all of it or parts of it.
Of course I did not read all of it. I did a condensed version.
Sure. I highly recommend people to go through it. The book on tape is fantastic. And he talks about many of these concepts. So bring that together, though, with adjacent possible. Sure. So I think with adjacent possible, when I do my workshops and stuff, we talk about adjacent possible, right? I mean, something that looks obvious now, and you look back and you say, oh, why didn't I think of that? You have these conversations with people all the time, right? So one of the little exercises I make people do is with adjacent possible is to ask yourself a series of questions. And this is something which, Basically, people like Stephen Johnson, they talk about these concepts all the time. So an example of that question, and we can go deeper into 4 or 5 of these questions, right? They are asking questions like, what is affordable now? That was, let's say, not affordable a year ago. Okay. What constraints existed last year or the year before that don't exist anymore? Right. So this is part of the ecosystem that is really important. So the quick 4 questions I tell them is, what is now affordable? What constraints have disappeared? What new capabilities exist now? Correct. And then what used to be hard but is now easy. And you can keep building this, but those are the 4 biggies. So when I run my workshops, I tell them on an index card, look at your industry, look at your stuff, and do that. And you'll see people saying, "Oh, I can do this now," right? So cybersecurity analysis. I'm in the tech space. I used to have a really hard time doing this. I had to have all these specialized people, but now I got tools using AI that I can very quickly analyze the security issues with my programming and stuff, right? Those are examples of things that are happening, and people listening to us can probably immediately rattle off, "Oh my gosh, this was not possible a year ago. Now it's
Right.
happening."
Write it down right now.
Correct. That's the whole point. But the reason I try to pull this together and why Stephen Johnson's stuff is so exciting is because he gets you thinking about these things. And what I'm trying to do in my innovation workshops and with the people around me is, can we identify that next step? Can we open that first door through which you can step through and say, now this has just opened up 20 new doors, correct? That's the visual I try to use all the time, is that take that step forward and then look at all the adjacent doors and say, wow, which way can I go down?
Okay, pin that thought. We'll come
Okay.
back to doors and which one to go down. But you talked about doing a workshop. Let's talk about who you are. So I'm Elizabeth Thelen. You're Dr. Choton Basu. We're both at UW Whitewater, but can you talk about your role here, some things that have changed, but also a little bit about your role outside of?
Sure.
Because you are an entrepreneur.
Sure.
And that just permeates our entire university and specifically the College of Business.
So my training is in information systems, and I've worked always in international business and entrepreneurship for several years. I've been in Whitewater for 26 years, and my life has been about entrepreneurship and innovation. So that's what I teach in my classes. That's what I do. Teach mostly graduate courses now, but that's what I do. But outside, the point that you're making, Elizabeth, is I work with people like Elizabeth and companies and startups to actually be a consultant and then also do workshops on innovation. So that's kind of, I would say, broadly the area I do work in. What I'm passionate about is social entrepreneurship and rural innovation, particularly. Those things really excite me. And with large companies, we work on the cutting edge technologies. That's kind of the space.
So we have many paths to take there.
Yes.
But one, just give a shout out to the Enactus team, and you could talk about that for a moment, and then we'll come back to the doors of adjacent possible.
Yeah, and we actually use the principle of adjacent possible and stuff. So 2.5 years ago, Enactus, which is a student organization I work with as their advisor, we are social entrepreneurs. We try to solve real problems and stuff. So we have been quite successful. But 2 years ago, we launched a program called Renew Towns, which the whole idea was to take small communities and help them fill their downtowns, where the storefronts, like you see these empty storefronts sitting there, boarded up, buildings, which really hurt small communities. So we found a way to do that. So that's a different conversation. But the point is, we applied a lot of these innovation principles, and we have now been successful in about 7 communities done. Just last year, we did $1.6 million worth of impact and opened about 14 stores in the last 2 years. So it's a very successful program, but we are always pushing the adjacent possible, even teaching communities about open that first door.
Right. So first it's, teaching students, right?
Yeah,
and then now the
100%.
students are teaching communities.
Right.
And it's even spun out as its own business. But
Correct.
just for the listeners, what is Enactus? Because I actually always forget what it stands for.
Yeah, it stands for Entrepreneurial Action Us. It's a global organization. About 35 countries are involved. So by winning the national championship the last 2 years, we just won a second time. we get to represent United States against those top teams from those 35, 36 countries. So last year we took the team to Thailand when we won last year. This year we're going to Sao Paulo, Brazil. And by the way, if you're a student at Whitewater, graduate or undergraduate, you can be part of this process and part of this organization. Just reach out to me.
How about alumni? We have a lot of alumni engagement.
That's correct.
Could they be supportive or a mentor?
100%.
Okay.
In fact, thank you for bringing that up. So they support many times as business advisory board members. They help us bring ideas to the table. They help support the students. So yes, alumni can 100% be involved. And what an amazing ecosystem we can keep building at Whitewater and the impact we're having in our communities.
So with Enactus, you use Adjacent Possible. We were talking about the 4 questions that you asked.
Yeah.
What is affordable now that wasn't before? Let's see if I get them. What constraints have disappeared? What new capabilities have come into our environment?
Sure.
And what used to be hard that is now easy?
Yeah.
So you talked about identifying next steps and doors to go through. Can you speak a little bit deeper to that, maybe, and throw in an example?
Sure. I'll give you I can give you several examples. Let me give you a quick one in Renew Towns we did recently, right? So one of the things we do is we run these interesting competitions as part of the Renew Towns product to help fill the storefronts, right? So when these businesses get started, one thing we found out in the last 2 years of working with them, marketing or getting their word out is very difficult, right? So we looked in our ecosystem and we noticed there was a new product out there called Marblism. There's multiple products like this. I'll give you the spelling for this in case you want to look it up. MARBLISM, Marblism.ai, I believe. Anyway, so what we did is we found out that you can go in there, you can put in the information about the small business, and it generates 6 or 7 AI employees which specialize in SEO, search engine optimization stuff. It can manage your email for you. It can do sales for you. So 24/7 employees for about $400 a year. And we were able to, because we can't continue to work with all these businesses. And by applying the principles of Adjacent Possible and seeing this in our ecosystem, we've now introduced many of the vendors to this, and it's running their digital campaign for them and so on. One of the vendors called me and said he used to get 20 hits a month. He's now getting 1,000 a week. Correct. So, and we'll have to track conversion stuff, but this is a perfect example of that 4th question, what used to be hard, but is now easy.
That is a perfect example.
Correct. Right. So that's kind of what we have done with that. So you have to constantly feed that ecosystem. And this is where your point about alumni are so important, because many times the alumni will call us and say, have you looked at this? Or have you seen this? And like, wow, we did not know about that. So that's such an important piece of having all these people around you. So that's a perfect one. The other example I use in my workshops that I really like, think about the whole movement with, basically Teslas, like Tesla and the battery operated cars, technically. So what is a big pain point for that? A pain point is you're driving somewhere, you have to charge your battery.
I got to charge it.
Right?
Where do I go?
That's right. So they, of course, provide, like a geo map or something for you to go. But what if you want to go in and immediately get out? So China's already done this. They have these pods that look like, because they realized there was a need for this. And if you just Google this and you go look at it, what you're going to find is they have a battery swap shop. Basically, it's completely automated. Your car comes up and sits on something. The robotic arm comes out from the bottom, removes your current battery, and replaces it with a fully charged battery, and you drive off. Correct. So that's a perfect example to me of an Adjacent Possible, because the technology is there, and you're saying there's such a need for that, in battery operated cars that I, as a driver, as a car owner, I don't want to sit there and be charging.
Right.
Stuff,
so
right?
It's replacing, not charging.
That's correct.
Although we can talk about this maybe in part 2 or 3, is the complexity of actually putting those systems in. And maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds even more complex than the charging system.
Correct. And so what Adjacent Possible will tell you is you have to look at that complexity, and your next iteration needs to be simpler.
Right.
Right? That's the beauty of it.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
All right. So if I'm sitting here listening and I'm going, "Ooh, I want to bring this back to my team," or I want to think about this in a meeting, what do I do just to even start?
Yeah. So to me, I usually, when I do the workshops, I first start with the concept of what it is, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is tell them to start generating those answers to those questions, right? So keep looking at it. So if you're doing your side gig or your side business or your
Mm-hmm.
mainstream work, ask yourself, because what that forces you to do is start looking at the ecosystem, start, subscribing to different things and listening to different things that start generating those first set of ideas, also building a list of concepts that you want to track. So, for example, there may be some podcasts, there may be people you listen to, or a group of people that you meet. So Elizabeth, you and I now have started meeting with a group of people because they come from different backgrounds, and we are talking about these things and trying to forge what the next thing is for education, what's the next thing for innovation on campus. That's the whole idea, is you have to start really building out a broad, set of resources to start, working through that.
So even in the day of AI, a next step could just be, and if you don't have whether you use your computer or in my office, I have a couple of whiteboards, you could just write these four
That's
questions
correct.
down. And
That's correct.
what are those again? What is affordable?
Correct. What constraints have disappeared?
And
The one that I like a lot is what is easy that like now
yes,
that was not before, correct?
and
And
new,
then also what new capabilities exist,
excellent.
So those are the four I would start with, and I've got three or four more, but those are the four biggies.
Okay,
Is
we're
where
going
I
to
start.
do those four. Come back and listen to us in part two. And what we'll probably do is bring somebody in as well that maybe
Sure.
has applied this,
Yep.
talk about examples. So you are listening to the Innovation Exchange. Thank you, Choton Basu. And if today's conversation sparked your curiosity and made you wonder how your organization could partner with UW Whitewater, subscribe and share this episode with someone who's ready to innovate with us. You can find all episodes and partnership opportunities at uww.edu/COBE/podcast for the College of Business and Economics. I'm Elizabeth Thelen, and we'll see you next time on Innovation Exchange. Be curious.